Okay, let's get after it. So, last week I asked you guys to get started on your posing and working on this assignment. At this point, this is what we had at the end of class last week. I have uploaded the last class to my YouTube channel. Direct you guys to that. I know that downloading the classes off of DC Connect is brutal, and you have to like put them back together again to like make any sense of them. So I'm trying to do that for you guys, although I'm way behind on it. But I did get last week's class up, and I'm just pulling it up here now, and I'll give you guys the link. Oh, why did I go to Twitter? That's somewhere. Just so used to going to Twitter, screaming out at the world. Yeah. So there's the link to last week's class in YouTube. All right, let's go. So we have, at this point, we have all of our posing done, and we've done our breakdowns. Our timing is very even, and there is still a lot of things that need finessing. We see a lot of the animation is still breaking as it's moving around, but the breakdowns have settled it down quite a bit and made it pretty good. So now what our job is to do is to fix the timing, make the timing stronger, and to also make these in-betweens work well. Okay. So first thing I noticed when looking through there is that this dramatic pause where he notices and then does the jump back. I think maybe I'm going to want to add some space there. So let's give that a few more frames there. So you can kind of just sit there and notice the ghost. Yeah, that's working a little bit better. Just gives it a bit of time before he jumps into his antic. Okay, so first thing I need to do is this head turn over here. Looks like I didn't quite get the framing right there. So, oh, come on, man, don't be a jerk. Yeah, so this is where I'm running into issues. Cool, that's not going to work at all. So if I have to move frames, I'll have to use my mouse. That's super good. So I want him to slow out of this and to turn his head to the right. So I'm going to use the, I'm going to hit the first keyframe here, and I'm going to use the set ease for multiple parameters. I'm going to use right time ratio. I'm going to do a pretty casual, yes, Jericho, we're always animating on twos. 50, and I'm going to hit that. So what that's going to do is it's making him slow out of that first pose. Yeah, so everything we do is always on twos, guys. Everything you hand into me should be on twos. Motion tweening should be turned off. So what you are seeing right now is I've done my posing and I've done my breakdowns. Now, once that's done, I turn on motion tweening, and I use the motion tweening in here to help me find my keys, and then I make my keys. Okay, so now I'm going to hit F6. Okay, I want this head to turn, and I want it to be a bit more of an arc than I have here. So I'm going to manipulate this. Oh, it's locked. I'm going to bring it a bit further over and down, and that should make it feel like it's coming down a bit more. It does. Okay. I'm also going to make his head facial features move over a bit to the right. Okay, look at that. Okay, and then this first key will really favor the top pose, Command L. Okay, so that's how I'm doing it all the time, Jericho and everyone else. Make sure your deformer's on. And then I'm just going to fix these arcs a little bit. Okay, I'm not happy with what I did with the hips there. That looks screwy, so I'm going to go back in time and fix that. I do like what I was doing with the head, so I will use that arc that I had on the head there. Move that up. Okay. Okay. So I'm tweening. I had my tweening turned on. I adjusted the timing, and then I keyed it out, right? And now I just have a string of red dots. And that's what it's going to look like at the end, everybody. I'm not going to have any auto tweening left on. Okay? It's just going to be red dots. You do use the auto tweening, right? I use the auto tweening to get where I'm going. Okay, I'm going to have him blink on this transition pose here. I'm using the bracket buttons to go through the drawings quickly in the library. So the library is up here. So rather than like clicking on the eye and going through every one of them by hand like this, I can use the bracket buttons, which are to the right of the letter P. I want to avoid tangents, so if I kept the eyebrow here, you see how the top line of the eyebrow goes into the top line of the head. So I want to be cognizant of that, and I want to avoid those. Those are called tangents. So I'm going to have him start to blink, and then as he turns, and his eyes will open here. That means on this pose, they're going to start opening. Okay. Okay. We hide blinks and head changes, direction changes in the big motion, right? I think we're going to want to move this head over just a bit more to the right, or the left rather. That's better. Hi, Brett. That's okay. We're just going through the tweening process for this scene now that we started last week. Okay. So I have him anticing down. That shouldn't be on. And you see, I did all these breakdowns here to make this scene work pretty well. It looks like I didn't finesse that pose very well. Since his feet are flying all over the place. Remember, locking the feet onto the ground is very important in 2D. You want to have your feet locked onto the ground, otherwise your animation is going to feel a little wonky. Arms up. And they're staying up, so I don't know why the arm's flipping around here. Can't remember everything I did last week. Not super happy with everything I did last week. I think I was kind of rushing through these like mini breakdown poses I was doing at the end because I wanted to just kind of get it done so that we could see where it was at. Okay, if I'm not happy with an arm, I want to move it back to its normal position so that it's not losing its structure. That's Shift R. So I'm coming down into my antic here. I want him to sit in the antic longer than I want him to sit in the first pose. So I will use my ease in, ease out parameter button. I'm going to affect the left time ratio, right? Because I'm affecting the timing to the left of the keyframe. So I want this to feel pretty dramatic. So I'll use a 7, oh, not a 7.0, a 70, and apply and close. Now it should feel like he's coming down pretty quick here. Yeah, it does. Okay. So now once I've done that, it's not just enough to do that. Now I have to key out these tweens. And you see I've left enough for there to be a key on every other frame, right? So now I have to key out these tweens to make them work well. Okay. The first thing, of course, always is making sure those legs are anchored down onto the ground. They are moving a little bit here, but not too much. And whenever I do a fix like this on the first frame, when I key the next one later on this frame, it'll be easier. There'll be less work to do, okay? So you kind of want to finesse it as you go. And my character is moving down, so I want that arc to feel nice. Let's look at that arc. You can see it's kind of just like a straight line down. So let's make that a bit more out there a bit. And then going back here, now it's trying to miss this one. So this is the biggest part of the movement is here. Again, I've got to lock down those legs, those feet. Oh my God. I guess I should make sure to reinstall the drivers before every class. It's just so brutal, man. It's so hard to work when you're fighting the mouse, fighting the stylus like this. Okay, locking the feet, right? You don't want the feet moving. You see a little pixel twitch there? I'm going to fix that too. Okay, and then this arc, right? So I'm looking at the arc from the top of the head down into the antic. You can see the it's a bit of a straight line, so I want that arc to be a bit nicer. Smooth it out a little bit. See how that works. Yeah, that's better. Okay, his arms are coming up. They're probably coming up too fast here. So I'm going to slow down those arms coming up. And then they'll pop into their top position better. Okay. I want this arm that's coming from his hip all the way back here. It kind of looks like it's just going, you know, straight around in a windmill. I don't like that too much, so I'm going to cheat this forearm to make it feel more like it's foreshortened. Okay, Control Shift R. Oh, it's not working. I'm just going to copy this hand, move to here. It's because I skewed the whole peg. Of course it is. To realize that. Guess I'm going to fart. Fight that back into shape a bit. And I want this to feel like it's being dragged a little bit. And I want this arm in front of that arm. So Alt down will bring it ahead of there. And then popping up into there. Popping up too fast there. So I'm going to have it drag a little bit here. Okay, I'm always thinking of secondary where I can squeeze a little bit of extra secondary out of the character. So having a little bit of drag on the hands here when it's coming up from a quick motion, and that'll feel like it's snapping to a stop. And I have him jumping up. I wonder if he's coming up too fast. I might get rid of this tween and add another tween that favors that pose more. Good. Not being able to move the keyframes of my stylus is painful. Yeah, and then you'll pop out of the jump quicker. Okay. So just quickly, spent 15 minutes starting this thing. So let's see where we're at. Okay. So all that has been corrected, right? So he's coming down. We got a nicer arc on the head turning to the right. We've added a blink. We've added some more time for him to take in the ghost. Now he's coming down. His blink is starting way too early. So I'm going to fix his facial features. I like to hide the expression change in a big motion. So this is a big motion, but I like to make it quicker than that. I usually like to do it over the span of 4 frames. So I'll keep his expression until here is when it'll start to change. But even there, I have it so extreme there, like his eyes are already there. So I'm going to make it less extreme. So they're coming down and then they slam into position. Am I on angry eyes here? Scared. He's so scared. He's so scared. He's a scaredy cat. That's weird that the expression is changing there. Who did that? Probably will start to open there, I guess. Yeah, they will start to open there. Oh, but anyways, that's not the point. They're changing eye positions. I don't know why that happened. It's probably something we did last week. We letting you guys share the blame for that. We did it together, guys. It wasn't just me. Oh wait, there's people talking on the messaging. Hey, sorry, hope I didn't miss much. My laptop just crashed. It's okay, Valerie. I'm gonna upload this class to what's the thing? I'm gonna open it to. I'm gonna upload this to YouTube, so you should have it there as well, so you can catch up on it there. Okay, Mia. So that sounds bad. So one thing I wanted you to make sure is that you have this yellow man selected. Okay. If you have this yellow man not selected and you make any changes, they won't stay. So you will not. He is. Okay. And when you mean you can't move anything, like if you select the character, he won't be selected. Like you can't click on an arm and move it. Okay. Can you check that the character master is unlocked? So see this button here. The character name should be white. If it's red, that means it's locked. Okay. Send me the file, Mia. Zip it and email it to me, and I'll take a look at it and figure it out for you, okay? We need to get that figured out as quick as possible. So just send that to me, and I'll figure it out. But that's the really quick troubleshooting I can think of right now. Right. Okay, so I don't know why that's happening. Yeah, just send me the file, Mia, because sometimes things get screwy on other people's computers for some reason. I can just take a look at it and troubleshoot it with you, and then we can have a Zoom call one-on-one if it's not working, okay? Okay, what am I doing? Where was I? Okay, so I moved into the antic, and I'm slowing out of the antic into this transition jump pose that I made, and now I'm moving into the jump, right? So when we're doing jumps, we know, because we are animators and we've been working on this stuff for a while now, that when we're doing jumps, you have your starting pose and your finishing. So start pose, finish pose, and then this is your high point, right? Most of your motion of your jump is going to be up in here, right? And you're going to be moving faster through here and faster through here. And that's why there's going to be more dramatic spacing between those. And then we have that Michael Jordan hang time up here. So we're going to have more frames of the character up here. So knowing that that is how the drawing is going to work, it's pretty easy to plug in some numbers into my timing chart here, because I know I'm going to want him to favor the right time ratio on this key to a 50. That'll make him slow out of the pose. And then if I make him left time ratio 52, see this curve, this like gentle S curve, will, you know, if it was inverted, it would just look like a nice arc. And that's what we want for this. Okay, so let's see how that looks. Apply, apply, close. Okay. So yeah, he's coming up slower, he's hanging higher, and then coming down quicker. Okay. I think I'm going to make this arc more dramatic. I feel like he's not, yeah, he's a bit too far over on this point. Oh my God. My mouse is becoming less and less, my stylus is becoming less and less useful. Come on now. Yeah, so I just want a bit more hang time up here. I think actually it's a butt that's moving, so maybe that's fine. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to trust that the timing it's giving me here is good. And I'm going to tween this out, and then I'm going to finesse it. Oh, shit. So we see my leg is transforming here, so it's doing the flip here, right? So the leg is all screwed up here. So whenever you're losing the thread on your drawing, and your drawing is doing that flip, what you want to do is you want to click it on the frame that you're happy with it, and hit Command Copy. Use the arrow to go back 2 frames, keeping that limb selected, and then hit Command V. And it's going to paste the good version of your leg in there, okay? So whenever you're flipping, you're going to have to make the decision as the artist is, when is that flip going to happen? For me, the flip is not going to happen on this drawing. This is the character moving up into his highest point. So he's kind of escaping gravity here a bit. So we're getting into that kind of floaty point of the jump. But you do see I have some of my limbs are getting a little mangled here because there is some kind of flipping happening. So I'm just going to correct those. See this, the arm there's a break in it. So let's find the arm that is correct for that pose. There you go, that works. And because I copied an arm and a leg that have motion tweening on them, now they have motion tweening in between these frames here. You can see it, right? I'm going to click on that frame again and Command L, turn that tweening off. Okay, now this is where the big transition from my leg pointing left to my leg pointing right has to be now. So I have to decide where is that transition going to happen, and I've decided what frame it's going to happen. But do I want to show it favoring the transition, favoring this drawing or favoring this drawing? I think because this is the quickest part of the motion right here, I want the character to snap into this leg. That way I can hide the transition in this big jump movement, okay? So what I'm going to do is Command Copy that leg, go back here, keeping it selected, using the arrows to move through, and then hit Command V, Okay. And now I'm going to move this leg into position. So we see it's quite straight here, and then it comes up and gets chambered. So I'm going to have it coming up here and straightening, but still not nearly as chambered as it is here, right? Chambered means like ready to kick out, which is a thing from martial arts. Chambered. What have I done? Oh my lord! Oh, it worked that time. What the heck? I have to swear about my computer again. I don't really know what was happening with the arm here. I guess the arm, I must have flipped the arm. Oh, I do flip the arm there. Okay, so that makes sense. So Command copy that arm and bring it back here, and then Command B. So it was flipping. So now that part of the animation is working too. I'm going to be going through this once the whole jump is done. I'm going to be feeling out the jump to make sure that I'm happy with the speed of it. But you can see the animation is working now. I've corrected the broken tweens that are there. And then here, now I have to fix this part too, which is now looking very tweeny, right? Okay, so I've already affected the timing there. He's coming down to land here. Let's get this going on. This is great, though. I don't think like I actually have to do that. Oh, man. What the hell's going on with this thing? I don't actually have to do that much to these tweens. I think mainly it's going to be the spacing is what I'm going to be affecting. So timing and spacing are different. Have I taught you guys timing yet, or is that next term? So timing and spacing are different. I can say ease in, but you can adjust the spacing a million different ways to have an ease in. So the spacing does a lot and tells a lot about the animation. Snappier animation will have more dramatic spacing, and then very smooth animation will have kind of more even spacing. I think with a jump like this, I think with jumps, you really want to have a lot of even spacing towards the top, and then you're pounding into your landing and out of your jump. So yeah, I want to correct these arcs for sure. Not super happy with this arc. And I can use my dear friend, the onion skin here to see this arc a bit more clearly. Man, I feel like there's a lot of drawings in the early part of this jump now that I'm looking at it. So I'm just adjusting the timing to make the hang feel more significant. And then it'll come down quicker. It might be too slow. That's a pretty big gap there. Let's take a look at that gap. It's not that bad, actually. And it serves the drawing pretty well. I guess I could bring this one down a bit more. That. I like having him hang up here, though. Come on now. Oh, my lord. Oh, I wanna. Oh, lord. So I'm just trying to finesse this to get me to a point that I'm more happy with. Let's take a look at this. Not loving this jump. I think there's at least one too many drawings. So up, 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 up. So it's too many tweens. Yeah, let's get rid of this one. You can have too many drawings for sure. And I think I had too many drawings. Let's take a look at how this looks now. That looks better. That spacing, I think, is better. Great. Okay. And then he's coming down into his landing, and that's the next big piece here, is this pop-up, right? So I think I'm going to want him to favor the landing and then pop into this drawing. So I'm going to adjust to right time ratio here. I'm going to make this one a bit more dramatic. So maybe we'll do 65, apply, and close. And yeah, he pops into it a lot softer. Okay. So this is the big part of the drawing, is the step forward. So I think what's going to happen here is I'm going to make him kind of really come into this arc nice, like stepping forward into it. So I'm going to move his whole body forward a bit here. Oh my God. Guys, buy new Cintiqs. My old Cintiq is taking years off my life. This driver issue is not going to get any better. This driver issue is going to get a lot worse as we get further and further away from when this thing was produced. I already have to reinstall my drivers like twice a day. This Cintiq has been a fantastic Cintiq. Like, it's a tank. It hasn't given me any technical issues beyond the driver, which is to be expected. Been a very solid piece of technology. I met my first. I've had my first friend who had a Cintiq break down on him. I've never known a Cintiq to break down before, but my buddy Adam, his Cintiq busted on him a couple weeks ago. And the thing about these things is that to get them repaired, you have to send them to the States. So they cost a lot of money to get repaired. The shipping alone makes it very cost prohibitive. But usually they don't break, so it's usually not an issue. So I was surprised to hear my friend Adam's situation. Poor guy. Okay. One of the most annoying things at Toon Boom is having to make the feet work. It's annoying having to drag them back and forth all the time, but that's your job. So it's not something we can shortcut around. It's just something we have to fight through. It is a bit of a hassle for sure. It's definitely the chunkiest part of the interface is making the legs work. Oh, so I got that issue again where the tweening is happening. And then what I want to do is I want to have him kind of slam back into that pose a bit. So I think I want to keep these arms forward, and then they'll like slap onto his face. Like, ah! That will come kind of abruptly, I think. L. XP Pen has great tablets for a fair price. Would recommend. Thank you, Charlie. I am going to squeeze every bit of life I can out of this thing and, make it work. It's not an issue when I'm just working myself because I can just reinstall the tablets. But when I'm, my classes start at 8 in the morning here, so I'm invariably I get my kids fed and then I'm like down here at like 7:59 or 8:01, and I don't have time to reinstall the the driver. So it's an issue on class days. And really, it's just an issue for me. It doesn't affect you guys too much. Although my drawing on the drawing part will be not as good. And you get to hear me complain a lot, which I'm sure isn't the best. Okay, maybe it affects you guys. So here I got to make this leg. When is this transitioning happening? And I think I'm going to keep the leg in this position here because it is very close to where it is here. Oh, isn't it where? Oh, it's because I didn't use the arrows, you silly goat. So again, very important. You click it, Command Copy, then you use the arrows to move over, and then Command V. Too much. Always figuring this out is kind of like the hardest part of this gig. Again, manipulating the legs and making them work is definitely the least fun part of Toon Boom for me. A lot of it, you kind of get it to the area that it's supposed to be in, like I have right here, and it's not perfect. But then you move. Come on now, it's a stinker. Oh my god, now it's not even grabbing the pivot point. Then you grab the pivot point and you move it down to the bottom of the foot, and then you use the skewing to make it fit a little bit better, right? And you just have to re-skew this one in response to what you just did there. Let's take a look at that. Right, so I'm hiding the step, right? So he's coming out of it. The biggest part of the movement, I'm then having the leg change in the biggest part of the movement. And then he goes into there. Okay? I still have to fix these arms. His karate chop arm, his G.I. Joe karate chop hand. Looks like it's moving forward, which I guess is what it's probably doing, but we don't want it to do that. We want it to start to think like it's moving slightly towards where it's going. And let's make this look like it's moving instead of just staying still, which it is, but we can kind of cheat it to make the arm look like it's moving in that arc as well. That'll be better. That's nicer. Oh, I've created a tangent on his chin there. Just like I was talking about the tangent with the eyebrows earlier. You want to always make sure you're avoiding these kind of things. It's just like something that is like your eye will pick up on and you won't know what's wrong, but you'll get a sense that something is not quite right. Okay, so he's looking over to the right, blinking. Oh, I didn't finish that. Yeah, so his eyes should start to be opening here. He has a pink eye. Eh? Is that called? It's not called. It is called pink eye, but when they don't want to say pink eye, they say there's another word for it. I can't remember what it is. But when Pence was doing his debate with Kamala Harris, he had some serious pink eye going on, and no one wanted to say pink eye. They were saying conjunctivitis. Conjunctivitis. That's what it is. All right, I'm going to have him slam into a blink here and then come up into these scared eyes. So he's landing heavy and hard. And we're going to get a nice solid blink here out of our guy. And maybe I'll use the crazy eyes here. Whoop. Whoop. Kids love Gangnam Style. Whoop. Gangnam Style. Dance parties up in this house. I don't know what you guys do. My exercise now that all my hockey rinks are gone. Dance parties with the kids. The Gangnam Style. They do like I like Gangnam Style too. Who doesn't like Gangnam? Come on. But listen to some Beastie Boys and Gangnam, and my wife likes that Shakira song that she did for the World Cup, so we play that song. And then they like the party rock song. The kids, I don't think the kids have great taste in music, but they have fun. They like fun music. That's cute. And then he pops into that post. There you go. Oh, what do you think? I guess I got the eyebrows coming down way too low, too high, because they are quite a bit lower on the next pose, right? So I got to keep them down. Harlem Shake's classic. And then I want him to ease out of this pose. So I'm happy with my new blink. And then I'll have him slow out of this pose. So right time ratio and 60, maybe? That might be too extreme. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. And this is great. Like this one I don't have to do much on, right? Just correcting the arc slightly. Oh, fart. What have I done? And that should be it for this. I might just get away with the head. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's fine. Getting away with the head there. Eyebrows there. You know what? I should have animated the eye a bit. Oh my god. Squash and stretch is almost impossible to do without the drivers. Oh my god. That looks not great. Gonna work? I think that's gonna work. All right, forget it. I'm not animating it. I would suggest doing squash and stretch, but it's gonna break everything, so I'm not gonna do it. Okay, so let's see what we got. I think this is good. We'll see. Okay, so he looks over, sees the monster, pauses, antics, and a big take. So his take is a giant jump into like, oh, I'm chewing on my fingers. I'm so scared. Okay, so it's something like this. What else could you do? You would have a character look over to the right. He would notice the character, and maybe he would like run to the other side of the screen, or maybe he would do like a big slide out to the screen. Harlem Shake style. To the right, to the right. Or maybe he would fall over backwards, you know? You'd be like, you'd look over, he'd have a take, you'd be like, ah, and then just kind of fall flat on the ground. You know, there's a lot of different ways to skin the proverbial cat here, so I will trust you guys to figure it out. But that is my process, and you see, well, we've been working on that for 40 minutes, and then we had about an hour and a half long class last week. So this took me about 2 hours to do. I'm obviously been animating for a long time, and I know the program really well. But if it took me 2 hours to do, it shouldn't take you guys much more than 5 hours to do, I wouldn't think. And hopefully you guys have been following along. Are there any questions about my process or anything that wasn't clear to you guys? Please put it into the questions. Let's do a poll. Does anyone have any questions? So please start throwing those questions out there, and I will answer them individually. The other step that I have to go over with you guys is just touching on drawing. I know you guys had a drawing assignment last year, and because of my bad computer, I might have a hard time doing this, but I'll make it work. What layer is this on? Oh, that's the thumbnail layer, you silly goat. Okay, so he's all on the overlay layer. So I'm going to paste this guy to my underlay layer. Get rid of that. Change the color of this to yellow so it's easier to see on that work. Didn't work. Oh, on the wrong layer. Oh my fucking god. So stupid. Why is it not working? Okay. So Ryan, how do I lock the feet? Many people have asked this for many years. So, well, why am I making new keys when I have keys here? Let's just use these keys. Delete keyframe. Okay. So before you get into animating, Ryan, your posing should have your feet locked. Okay. Now, what do I mean by locked? I mean the feet are not moving on the ground. Okay. They are staying stable or very close enough to stable that they look good. Okay. You want them to stay stationary and not move too much. This has to be locked down in your posing and your breakdowns before you tween, okay? So make sure all your posing, your feet are staying where you want them. Now, they don't have to stay in the same position. Like from this pose to this pose, maybe my character has, I have this locked, fuck. Maybe in this pose, my character has, stepped forward and his leg has moved, right? So maybe it's his legs are going from there to there. That's totally fine. But you have to show how his legs get there, and they shouldn't just be sliding across. Once you tween your scene, once you turn on auto tweening, all your posing and your locked feet are not going to work anymore. Your legs are going to shift. Okay? Now, when you're animating, when I'm saying you have to have locked feet, what I mean is you're tweening. I'm tweening my drawing here. I'm hitting F6. I'm going to turn on my onion skin. I'm going to see where my feet are. I'm going to grab the entire peg, and I'm going to lock those feet into a spot where I know that they're supposed to be. Okay. Now, when I go between these two frames, one of the feet is still moving because, of course, it is. Let's turn on the onion skin. Take a look at that one. And I'm moving that one into a spot that makes sense. Okay. So now that foot is locked in place. You see it's moving a pixel or two. It's usually not too big of a deal. Okay. Once my feet are locked into place, then I usually like to tween the arc of my character. make sure the arc's working and figure everything else out. Or maybe if the arc's primary, I get that working, and then I make the feet match. But the feet have to stay locked on place. If when your tweens are happening, the sliding up and down, like that's something I notice right away, and your boss will notice right away, and it's really unacceptable. So it's something you have to be very cognizant of and something you have to watch. It's really the most annoying part of the process, Ryan, and I think I've said that a couple times during this class, but it is something that you have to do, and it's kind of awkward because of the way hierarchy works. You have to move from the top of the leg down, so it makes matching where the leg is going to be kind of difficult. One thing you can do is you can move the pivot point to the bottom of the feet, and sometimes you can just skew the rest of the leg to match. So that's another way to do it. Does that answer your question, Ryan? Good. Okay, what else do we got here? How do you move the limbs so they move in front of the head? Okay, so here on this last pose here, I had my character move his arms in front of the head, right? And you'll see the shoulder is also in front of the head. On this pose, and I think, Charlie, I'll be able to answer your question with this as well. With this pose, you'll see the shoulder is in front. Oh, and the whole arm is too in that case. That's fine. But this arm is not in front, okay? So what I want to do is I want to bring this arm in front of the head as well. So I'm going to move this arm here. I want the shoulder behind the body in this case, but I want the hand in front. So I click on the arm, the forearm, and I hold down Alt, and I use the down and up arrows, your 4 directional arrows at the bottom of your keyboard on, to the right of the letters. So I push down to move in front of objects, and I push up to move behind them. So I'm holding Alt, down, up, down, up. You'll notice when I do it that the seam of the arm appears. So there's masks on these characters. You're going to break the seam when you do this. So what you want to then do is you want to grab the drawing, go to duplicate drawing. It'll create a new drawing for you. And then you want to use your eraser and erase the offending piece of line that you no longer want. And you'll have to switch the arms at certain points, because then when you go to this pose, oh shit, where'd that pose go? Oh fuck, where am I? Pardon my language. You'll see I don't want those lines to disappear, right? So you want to be up in the library area here, and you're switching through the arms to get the drawing that is the drawing that you are needing in this case, right? So here, right? That's a great example there. And again, I'm using the bracket button to flip through my drawings quickly, which is beside the letter P. And that lets me flip through the drawings in my library. I would really suggest getting used to that shortcut for sure, especially when you're doing like blinks and things like that. You don't want to be bringing your mouse up here every time to go through all these, because that's a pain in the ass. Okay, does that make sense, Holly? No worries. Okay, Charlie. So this is sometimes an issue. So I have the character, and have you pressed 4? And the character has gone crazy, right? Is this what has happened to you? So there's different ways to do this, I find. So it kind of depends on where you're grabbing the character by. And sometimes I just figure it out and make it work. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it's very annoying. Sometimes I grab the peg. Oh, it's not even working on the peg. With the limbs, I can just switch the limbs automatically like this. Sometimes I go through it one at a time to make it work. Sometimes I grab the peg and it works. You can kind of flip it different ways, but generally it should just be the letter 4, number 4. And even still, how I've just done it there, like I just selected 4 and it worked this time, and then this time it's not working. Okay. So the program's screwy and weird and stupid, and sometimes it works, and other times it doesn't work, and it's pretty frustrating. But it is something that we'll generally just kind of keep fucking screwing with it, and it'll work eventually. That's not a great. That's probably not a great way to do it, but it does work. You also have flip horizontal in here, and I think this often is a bit works a bit better. Where is it? Anyways, the reason it's doing it is it's because of your pegs. It's all about the pegging, but I always screw up how to do it, so I'm not convinced I want to tell you that this is the right way to do it because I always screw this part of it up. But I think if you just grab the master peg, it'll work. So if you're in the node view, I think it works. If you grab it in the node view, I think it will always work. But then if it's other things that are selected, no, that worked. If it's other parts that are selected, sometimes it doesn't work. So, yeah. I guess I don't have a great answer for you there, Charlie, except sometimes it works, most of the time it works, sometimes it doesn't work. I find if I bother to go into the node view and do it, it always works. Yeah, no problem. Okay. What else do I have to show you guys today? Oh, the drawing, right? Escape? No, how do I get back? Okay, here we go. Okay, was that all the questions? I think so. Okay. Okay, so when you are in your drawing, you'll notice there's multiple underlay and overlay layers. I have 4. You guys might not have 4. In preference, if you go to edit preferences, in here, one of these has multiple, here, support overlay and underlay arts. If you click that, you'll get 4 layers. I like that because what it does is it lets me have multiple layers for figuring out my rough drawing and doing this nicely. How do I like to draw? I like to draw with my pencil, especially if I'm just doing a single drawing like this. But as you guys know, my pencil isn't working that well. Actually, this doesn't look that bad, even though the pressure sensitivity is not there. I like to just draw with my pencil, and I would do a rough drawing, and then I would make it work. But for our case here, and not everyone has the same pencil line and same pencil quality, I'll show you guys how to draw with the line tool. And yes, that's right, Charlie. Oh my fucking god. Okay, so here's my monster. Charlie, why is it not working for you? That's odd. So Charlie, do you have the transform button selected? because the transform, you need to have this one selected. Make sure that's selected, because if you select it with this, that might not work. Oh, okay, cool. All right, great. I don't really know what you mean by punch it, but that sounds great. Okay, so I like to use the line tool, guys, when my camera, my phone, not my phone, my line tool's not working. So this is your tool properties. This one is important. So this is the snap to function. Use the snap to. Okay. So I'll use a 5. Will I use a 5? Should I use a 10? A 10 just for distinctive. Oh my God. You're just getting more and more mad at me. Okay, so I just start with a single line, okay? Now I want to use this white selector, and what it does is it shows me the contour of the vector line, okay? So I can manipulate the vector line by pulling it like this, just like, you know, dragging it if I want to. And then I can manipulate the curve by grabbing these white dots, which are the convex of the vector. And I can pull these out and get these Bézelier curves. Fuck, I don't even know how to pronounce it. My language is going right to the gutter here, guys. So you can, what you do is you click on the corner and you hold down Alt, and you'll see this little minus thing will go beside my white dot. And I can pull that out, and that'll let me adjust the curve more distinctly and get like a really nice curve that will match my line exactly, okay? So this takes away, like if you're not a steady hand, sometimes this is the best way to do it, is just like carving it out of the shape, okay? Now, that's great. I have that nice line at the top, but I want to have more lines. So what I do is towards the end of this line, I just hit Control+, and it's going to add another vector line, okay, or a vector dot. And then I can drag this new bottom one all the way to where I figure the bottom of this line will be. And then I repeat the process. And I just curve it to the line, okay? Okay, like that. Then go back to this line, Control+, and grab this one over to here. And it's just the same process over and over again. Okay. And you have to do a little bit of adjusting on each side. But you can see I can match my line pretty much perfectly, right? So you want to have a nice drawing. You want to have a nice undersketch drawing. Oh, you bastard. Whoa. That one's getting a little drunk. Yeah, like that. Okay. And then you just keep doing this process the whole way around. Okay, and this way you'll get really nice line art. And I know a lot of designers just design this way in the studio. Like they'll do their nice drawing on paper or in Photoshop, and then they'll bring it in and they'll just copy the line art. And they're way quicker at it than me. Like I'm a slow-mo. You'll see like I'm not very quick at this. But people who are very talented at this do this very fast. They can knock it out real fast. Meanwhile, I am not Sonic the Hedgehog. But I'd like to be. Maybe I will be once I start using this program again professionally. Who knows when the next contract will be that brings me back into Toon Boom. But what's nice is teaching this class because it keeps me using the program anyways, which is nice. Because when that next contract on this show program works out, at least I won't feel like I haven't used it in 3 years. Okay? So you see, it takes time, especially when you get into like this kind of, I wanted to do this kind of like curvy bottom at the bottom of my Pac-Man Ghost here because I wanted to have to show you how you can get these nice curves that match any line. Like you can get pretty nuanced lines. No, we did Gary and his Demons in Flash MX. Thanks for remembering, Dal. Gary, R.I.P. What a great show. It's in contract hell, FYI. If you're waiting for season 2, I don't think it's ever going to happen.